Family is supposed to be the one thing you can always count on. Your brother should have your back no matter what. That's what I believed for 28 years of my life. But my brother, Alex, decided my 15 years in software engineering were worth exactly $0 once a $6 million contract was on the table. He told me to be a man and stop asking for handouts. So I stopped asking. I just let the code do the talking instead. My name is Collins, and this is the story of how I learned that blood isn't always thicker than money. Sometimes the people closest to you are the ones who will cut you the deepest when the stakes get high enough. Alex is a senior director at a tech logistics giant called TechFlow Industries. He's great at golf, even better at talking his way into promotions, but he couldn't code a basic calculator if his life depended on it. That's never stopped him from climbing the corporate ladder, though. While I spent my career buried in code, building systems and solving impossible problems, Alex spent his time shaking hands and playing office politics. Our parents loved that about him. He knew how to impress people, how to look successful. I was just the quiet brother who worked with computers, doing things nobody really understood. 3 months ago, Alex came to me desperate. We met for dinner at this expensive steakhouse he loves, the kind of place where a single meal costs what I spend on groceries for a week. He looked stressed in a way I'd never seen before. His company was bidding for a $6 million federal contract with the Department of Transportation, and their current system was failing every single load test. The presentation was in 6 weeks, and they were drowning. "Help me build the core engine, bro," he said, reaching across the table. 50-50 split on my bonus. Will change both our lives. I'm an IT engineer. I live for this kind of challenge, the complex architecture problems that most people run away from. Alex knew that about me. He knew I couldn't resist a system that needed fixing. $100,000, Collins, he said, his eyes locked on mine. That's your half when this comes through. Just help me build something that works. I thought about my tiny apartment, my 12-year-old car, my empty savings account. But more than the money, I thought about helping my brother. About finally being the hero in his story instead of the background character. I shook his hand. I'm in. I spent the first 3 days just analyzing what his company actually needed. Their existing system was a complete disaster, barely held together with patches and outdated code that should have been replaced years ago. They needed an automation engine that could process massive amounts of transportation data from multiple federal sources, validate everything in real time, and generate detailed reports for government auditors. Most engineers would have just patched the old system and hoped it survived the presentation. But that's not how I work. I don't do temporary fixes. I decided to build something entirely new from the ground up. My life became nothing but code for the next 6 weeks. I woke up at 6 in the morning and worked until 2 or 3 at night, sometimes later. My apartment turned into a cave of computer screens, empty coffee cups, and energy drink cans. I stopped seeing friends. I stopped answering calls from anyone except Alex. Every single line of code I wrote was tested and retested until it was absolutely perfect. The system I was building could handle 10 times the data volume they actually needed. It was elegant, efficient, and completely revolutionary. Alex would call every few days, always cheerful, always grateful. "You're saving my life, little brother," he'd say. On a Tuesday morning, exactly 6 weeks after we'd shaken hands in that restaurant, I compiled the final build. The system was perfect. Every test came back flawless. The automation engine processed data faster than anything I'd ever created before. I spent hours writing detailed documentation, explaining how every major component worked, creating deployment instructions so clear that even someone with basic technical knowledge could install it. I packaged everything carefully and uploaded it to a secure server. Then I sent Alex the access codes with a simple message. "It's done. This is going to blow their minds." His response came immediately. "You're the best, bro. Talk soon." Wednesday passed. No word from Alex. I figured he was busy with his technical team getting everything installed and ready for the big presentation. Thursday came and went in silence. By Friday, something felt wrong in my gut, that instinct you get when you know something's off but can't quite put your finger on it. I sent him a text. Hey, did the team get the system working okay? Any issues? Nothing. I called twice. Both times it went straight to voicemail. Saturday morning, I drove to his apartment across town. His car was in the parking lot, but he wouldn't answer the door even though I knew he was home. My mom called Saturday evening with that cheerful voice she uses when she's trying to organize the family. You're coming to Sunday dinner tomorrow, right? Alex will be there. Your aunt and uncle are coming too. I almost said no. Almost told her I was busy or sick or anything to avoid what was starting to feel like a trap. But I needed answers. I needed to look my brother in the eye and find out why he was avoiding me. Sunday afternoon, I walked into my parents' house and found everyone already gathered in the dining room. Alex was there, laughing with our dad, looking completely relaxed like nothing was wrong. When Alex saw me walk in, something flashed across his face. Not guilt, not embarrassment, something colder, something calculating. We sat down to eat and I tried multiple times to catch his eye. He wouldn't look at me. The conversation flowed around the table, everyone talking about Alex's big presentation coming up, how proud they all were of him. Finally, I couldn't take the pretending anymore. Alex, we need to talk about the project, I said quietly. The entire table went silent. Every fork stopped moving. My mom looked uncomfortable. Alex set down his knife and fork very slowly, very deliberately. Alex looked around the table at our parents, our aunt and uncle, our younger sister. Then he looked at me with this smile that didn't reach his eyes. Look, Collins, I appreciate you helping with the minor formatting issues, he said, his voice steady and confident. But I handled the heavy lifting on this project. There's no bonus split for tech support. The words hit me like a physical blow. I felt my face go hot. Our mom's expression changed, disappointment filling her eyes as she looked at me. Our dad shook his head slowly. Collins, stop trying to ride your brother's coattails, he said. Alex worked hard for this opportunity. Alex adjusted his Rolex, that expensive watch he'd bought to celebrate his last promotion. We're launching the Alpha Stream system Monday morning, he continued. It's going to revolutionize how the industry handles federal logistics contracts. Sorry if there was some confusion about your role, Collins, but I can't hand out bonuses for small contributions. That's just not how business works. My sister reached over and touched my arm like she felt sorry for me. Everyone at that table believed him. Every single person thought I was just trying to steal credit for Alex's hard work. I looked at my brother's face and saw the smirk hiding behind his professional expression. I didn't yell. I didn't argue or try to defend myself or explain what I'd actually built. I just finished drinking my water, stood up from the table, and thanked my mom for the meal. Collins, don't be so dramatic, she called after me as I walked toward the door. I stopped and turned back one last time. I'm not being dramatic, Mom. I'm just being clear about where I stand with this family. Alex was still smirking. Our dad looked annoyed at my attitude. I walked out and sat in my car for 10 long minutes, my hands shaking on the steering wheel, trying to process what had just happened. I drove home and immediately opened my laptop. My fingers were still trembling slightly, but my mind was completely clear now. Alex had made a critical mistake. He thought that because we had no signed contract, no official paperwork, no lawyers involved, that he was completely safe. What my brother forgot, what he'd never understood about my world, is that in software engineering, code is the contract. And I always build in safeguards. When you're creating a system that handles sensitive federal data, security isn't optional. It's everything. And I'd built the security layer very, very carefully. The automation engine I'd created relied on a remote validation handshake. Every single time the system started up, it reached out across the internet to check for a specific encrypted license token. Without that token, without that digital handshake, the system simply wouldn't run. It was like a car without keys. The validation server that hosted this token sat on my personal private cloud infrastructure, completely separate from Alex's company. Since I wasn't an employee of TechFlow Industries, I'd set everything up as a trial environment for testing purposes. The trial period was set to expire exactly 1 hour after their public launch on Monday morning. Monday arrived. I woke up early, ate a normal breakfast, and decided to go to the gym. At 9 in the morning, Alex's company went live with their big launch. They were hosting a massive tech gala, streaming the whole event to thousands of investors and potential clients. I checked the company's website and saw the live feed. There was Alex on stage in an expensive suit, talking confidently about his revolutionary architecture and his breakthrough in automation technology. He looked so proud, so successful. He never mentioned my name once during the entire presentation. At 9:30, I started my workout routine. I was on the treadmill halfway through my warm-up when my phone started vibrating. I glanced at the screen. Alex, I kept running. The phone buzzed again and again and again. By 10:15, I'd received 12 missed calls from my brother. I finished my mile and checked the messages. The first text said, "System error, call me now." The second one read, "Collins, this isn't funny, something's wrong with the code." The third message was more desperate, "Call ME." I put my phone back in my pocket and moved to the weight machines. At 10:30, a new text appeared. "What did you do? The system is throwing a license revoked error. Fix it now." I didn't respond to any of Alex's messages. I finished my entire workout, took a long shower in the gym locker room, and even stopped at the juice bar next door to grab a protein smoothie. My phone had finally stopped buzzing constantly, which told me Alex was probably dealing with a full-blown crisis. I could picture the scene perfectly. The investors watching the live demonstration. The federal auditors sitting in the audience, taking notes. The system suddenly going dark with an error message nobody understood. The technical team panicking, trying desperately to figure out what went wrong. And Alex, sweating through his expensive suit, realizing he had no idea how to fix it. At exactly noon, my phone rang again. The caller ID showed Alex's number, but when I answered, the voice wasn't my brother's. "Is this Collins Chen?" It was an older man's voice, rough and stressed. "This is Robert Mitchell, CEO of TechFlow Industries. I'm calling from Alex Chen's phone because my entire company is currently in the middle of a complete disaster." He didn't wait for me to respond. "We have federal auditors on site right now conducting the evaluation for our contract." The Alpha Stream system went completely dark at 10 this morning. "Alex says you're the consultant who set up the security layer. We need the bypass code immediately." I let the silence hang in the air for a long moment. Then I spoke very calmly, very clearly. "Mr. Mitchell, I need to correct something important. I'm not a consultant. I'm the owner of the intellectual property that powers your Alpha Stream system." I heard him stop, breathing on the other end. "Alex told my family yesterday that I only helped with minor formatting issues. Since my formatting clearly isn't working for your company, I suggest you let Alex fix it himself." He told everyone he handled all the heavy lifting after all. The silence stretched out for 5 full seconds. Then I heard Robert Mitchell absolutely explode in the background. "Alex, get into my office right now." 10 minutes after the CEO hung up on me, my email pinged with a new message. It was from TechFlow Industries' legal department. The subject line read, "Emergency IP licensing agreement, immediate response required." I opened it and read through every word carefully. They were offering me $400,000 as an upfront emergency licensing fee just to reactivate the validation server. Beyond that, they wanted to negotiate a recurring royalty structure for ongoing use of the system. The email was professional but absolutely desperate. Every minute that system stayed dark was costing them millions. The federal auditors were still on site. They had 1 hour to give me an answer or lose everything. I wrote back with my complete terms. $400,000 up front, absolutely non-negotiable. A royalty of 5% on all revenue generated by any system using my core automation engine. Full credit as the lead architect in all technical documentation and marketing materials. And one final requirement. A formal statement from TechFlow Industries acknowledging that Alex Chen had misrepresented the development process to company leadership. They accepted every single condition within 30 minutes. I logged into my private server and entered the command to reactivate the license token. At 1:47 in the afternoon, the AlphaStream system came back online. The federal auditors completed their evaluation. TechFlow Industries won their $6 million contract. Alex didn't get his bonus. Instead, he got called into a meeting with HR and the board of directors. When a company discovers that a senior director outsourced a critical federal contract to an unvetted family member, lied about it to leadership, and nearly destroyed a $6 million deal through his deception, they tend to take it very seriously. TechFlow Industries launched a full internal investigation. They interviewed every member of the technical team, reviewed all of Alex's communications, examined the complete project timeline. Every single piece of evidence pointed to the same conclusion. Alex had contributed almost nothing to the AlphaStream system. He'd just been a middleman and then a thief. My parents called me 3 days later. My mom was crying before I even said hello. "How could you do this to your brother?" she said through her tears. "Alex lost his job because of you. He has a mortgage, Collins. He has car payments and bills. You ruined his entire career over money." My dad got on the line, his voice hard and angry. "You need to call TechFlow and tell them this was all a misunderstanding. You need to fix this right now. Family doesn't destroy family over business deals." I let them finish talking. Then I said quietly, "Alex told everyone I only helped with minor formatting. I'm just tech support, remember? He did all the heavy lifting. He should be able to lift himself out of this." 3 months have passed since everything fell apart. I used part of my licensing fee to move into a much better apartment downtown. TechFlow Industries kept me on as a permanent contractor, and I've already built 2 more systems for them. My royalty checks arrive every month like clockwork. Alex found a new job eventually, but it's several steps down from where he was before. We don't talk anymore. We don't see each other at family gatherings because I stopped going. Our parents still think I'm the villain in this story, and maybe they always will. But I've learned something valuable through all of this. Systems don't care about bloodlines or family dinners or who the favorite son is. They only care about permissions, about who actually built the code and who's just pretending. Alex forgot that lesson. He thought being my brother gave him automatic rights to everything I created. But in my world, code is the contract. And Alex just didn't have the password.
Thank you for watching.